There's something they never told you, not your teachers, not your pastor, not even your favorite self-help guru. It's the real reason your life keeps repeating. Why failure circles you like a predator. Why your biggest dreams feel just out of reach. It's not because you're cursed, not because you're lazy, not because God is testing you. It's because the most powerful force in your life has been used against you. Your perception. Open my eyes that I may see wonderful things in your law. This isn't scripture. It's spiritual technology. And if you don't understand it, you'll keep living in a reality you didn't choose. But the moment you awaken, you stop reacting. You start bending. Because perception isn't just how you see the world, it's how you build it. This is the forbidden science of the soul, and it's time to weaponize it. There's a moment most people don't talk about, the moment after the plan falls apart, when the job didn't come through, when the person you counted on walked away, when everything you built collapsed. You sit in silence, staring at the wreckage of your expectations. And for a second, you start to believe it's over. But what if that moment wasn't the end? What if it was the pivot point? Let me give you an example. In 2018, a 36-year-old single mother named Jordan lost her job. 6 figures gone overnight. She had 3 kids, $600 in her bank account, and eviction papers on the table. Her reaction? Panic. But then something shifted. She didn't pray harder. She didn't suddenly get lucky. She changed her perception. She told herself, "This breakdown is a coded blueprint. I'm being rerouted, not rejected." She leveraged that energy, started selling homemade bath products online, and 18 months later, she owned a brand generating over $2 million a year. Same world, same timeline, different perception. She didn't wait for her external reality to shift. She shifted first. That's the secret almost no one understands. Every failure contains a seed of equal success. But most people never plant it because their perception is stuck in defeat. They don't see a doorway. They see a wall because they were never taught that perception isn't just how you view life. It's how you direct it. And if you don't understand that, if you don't wield it consciously, it becomes the weapon used against you. Your greatest spiritual weapon isn't prayer. It isn't faith. It isn't hustle. It's how you interpret what happens to you. That's the metaphysical arsenal no one taught you about. But after today, it's yours. There's a hidden law working through your life right now, whether you believe in it or not, whether you're conscious of it or not. It's been behind every success and every breakdown. It's written into the fabric of the universe, the law of polarity, from the Kybalion. Everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. At first, that sounds like philosophy, but it's actually physics of the soul. Think about it. Hot and cold? Same energy, just different temperatures. Love and hate? Same emotion, just different directions. Wealth and poverty, courage and fear, success and failure. They're not different realities. They're different degrees of the same vibration. Here's why this changes everything. When you're in lack, you're not far from abundance. You're on the same scale. When you're feeling rejected, you're already in the field of acceptance, just on the other end of the spectrum. You're not disconnected from the life you want. You're just facing the wrong direction. And most people, they stay there for years because they don't realize the scale exists. They think failure is a stop sign. They don't know it's a pivot point. You've been trained to think duality means separation, but polarity is actually unity in disguise. You're not moving from one world to another. You're shifting frequency within the same field. The moment you change your perception, you don't just feel better. You shift your place on the polarity scale. Because perception is how you navigate energy, and polarity is the map. You can't avoid polarity. You're always on the scale. The only question is, are you conscious of where you stand, or are you being pulled around by your perception like a puppet? Let's strip away the mysticism for a second, not to dismiss it, but to get to something deeper. Because the most mystical force in your life isn't hidden in a temple. It's not locked in scripture. It's not waiting for you on some mountaintop. It's your perception. You don't see the world as it is. You see it as you are. You've been told that perception is just how you view things. But that's like saying gravity is just how you fall. Perception isn't passive. It's architectural. It shapes what you notice, what you ignore, what you believe is even possible. Let's make it real. Two people walk into the same room, same lighting, same sounds, same energy. One sees opportunity, the other sees rejection waiting to happen. One sees a potential client, the other sees a threat. Who's right? Both. Because perception is a filter, and whatever you believe, you'll find evidence for. Your brain is a magnet, and it's always tuned to your dominant emotional frequency. That's why perception is the most spiritual weapon you've never been taught to wield. Because it does something terrifying and beautiful. It projects. Your inner world becomes the script your outer world follows. Not metaphorically, literally. You think you're reacting to reality? No. You're reacting to your projection of it. And until you realize that, you're not living, you're looping. The perception-projection loop. Perception feeds belief. Belief creates emotion. Emotion shapes reality. And reality feeds perception. That loop, it's invisible. But it's the real algorithm behind your life. And every time you say, "This always happens to me. Things never go my way. I'm just unlucky." You're not making a statement. You're making a command. And your reality is obeying. But here's the liberation. Perception is programmable, and the moment you change it consciously, you break the loop. You stop being the actor and become the author. And that's when the world starts bending. By now you've seen it. Perception isn't just a way of seeing. It's the genesis point of your entire reality. But what you haven't been told is how that perception becomes a loop, a trap. Here's how it works. You experience something painful. Your mind assigns it a meaning. I'm a failure. Life's against me. Nothing works out. That meaning becomes a belief. That belief hardens into a frequency. That frequency becomes your emotional baseline. And your perception starts searching the world for proof that it's true. Because the mind doesn't want truth. It wants validation. This is why people get stuck. Not because they're weak, but because they've become emotionally addicted to the loop they're in. A man loses his job. He thinks, "I must not be valuable." That belief triggers insecurity. That insecurity causes hesitation in the next interview. The interviewer senses the energy and passes. Now the man says, "See? I knew it." He doesn't realize. He just confirmed the world he projected. He's not living in truth. He's living in feedback. And here's where it gets dangerous. The longer you stay in that loop, the harder it is to tell what's real. Because your brain starts to normalize the distortion. You don't even question it anymore. You call it reality. You call it facts. You call it the way things are. But what you're really doing is accepting a world that was built by an old version of you. But polarity offers a way out, because both sides exist at once. You can shift to the other end of the scale, not by changing the world, but by changing what you see in it. If you perceive opportunity in failure, you unlock the next level of growth. If you perceive gain in loss, you transmute grief into power. If you perceive light in the darkness, you become the torch. This might be the most uncomfortable truth you've ever heard, but if you can sit with it, if you can feel it instead of fearing it, it will set you free. Life has no meaning, not inherently, not universally, not objectively. There is no divine narrator assigning labels, no cosmic judge deciding what something should mean, no sacred script with fixed roles for heroes and villains. There is only this: energy, and your perception of it. You weren't born with meaning. You were born with authority, the power to assign meaning, to declare what something is, regardless of how it looks. And this isn't philosophical fluff. It's metaphysical reality. Because meaning is what turns a breakdown into a breakthrough, what turns a betrayal into a rebirth, what turns rock bottom into a launch pad. Let me show you what this looks like. In 2009, J.K. Rowling gave a speech at Harvard. She said, "Rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life." She had been rejected by publishers, broke, divorced, suicidal, but she didn't assign that season as her end. She gave it a different meaning, a sacred meaning, one that led to her becoming the world's first billionaire author. The facts of her life didn't change, but the frame did. That's what gave the facts their power. Meaning is the software, and your perception is the coder. This is the divine loophole in the system, the one hidden from you. Because if you knew it, you'd stop waiting, stop suffering, stop obeying the rules of a game that's always been rigged by someone else's story. You'd stop saying, "This is happening to me," and start saying, "This is happening for me because I say so." That's the moment you reclaim your life. Not when you escape pain, but when you reframe it. The death of a dream, you can call it failure, or you can call it redirection. The loss of a relationship, you can call it abandonment, or you can call it initiation. The chaos of your past, you can call it trauma, or you can call it the training ground for your legacy. Because meaning doesn't come from above, it comes from within. You've been told to wait for the light, to hope for change, to pray that life bends in your favor. But now you know the truth. You are the one who bends it. Every moment is raw, unformed energy, neutral, undefined. It's not success, it's not failure, it's just potential, waiting for a verdict. And the judge, the architect, the divine assigner of all meaning, it's you. This is what the mystics knew. This is what the elite never wanted you to discover. Not that you manifest your reality, not that your thoughts attract it, but that your perception commands it. Because reality doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are, and who you are is defined by what you choose to see. Here's the alchemist's code. Whatever happens, assign it power. Decide it's working. Reframe the pain. Rename the loss. Reclaim the moment. Even if it looks like collapse, call it expansion. Even if it looks like rejection, call it redirection. Even if it looks like chaos, call it the divine remix. You're not gaslighting yourself. You're overriding the illusion. Because once you see that perception is the software, you realize your spirit is the coder, your emotion is the fuel, and your frequency is the firewall. And the old world, it no longer has access. Neville Goddard said, The reward is to the one who enjoys a deep conviction that all is well. It is done, no matter what is seen or heard. That's not just faith. That's spiritual warfare. That's choosing your frequency as if your life depends on it, because it does. So here's the closing truth. You will face chaos. You will be tested. You will be shaken. But the alchemist doesn't flinch. The alchemist doesn't beg. The alchemist smiles and assigns it all as gold. Open my eyes, that I may see wonderful things in your law. Psalm 119:18. You are the eye. You are the law. You are the alchemist. Now, bend reality.